Ryan Powell of I Run Far here with Alex Nichols after a second place finish at the 2017 Western States 100. How are you, Alex?
Doing all right.
That was a pretty good run you had yesterday.
Yeah, it was what I was hoping for.
Was it?
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, now that the race is over, like, what was your goal, like, going in?
I mean, I guess time-wise, I was expecting a lot faster.
Yeah.
I think the course up top, when we had a lot of snow, we had a lot of mud, that slowed things down initially, and so times were out the window. But I was still just really focused on, making that top three, and like I said last time, just finishing. Like, that was a serious goal because there was times in the race that I wasn't sure I was going to finish.
Really? All right, tell me about those. Those are the interesting parts. You can run fast.
Yeah.
We know that.
Yeah, no.
Where does Alex Nichols suffer?
Well, in those really rough, muddy, rocky sections, I ended up rolling my ankle like 4 times, my left one, which I hadn't done recently or anything. So one of the times I was like, it was bad. I like screamed out, and then I was sitting on the trail, and then Chris Danucci like went flying by me, and I'm like, well, my race is over, and this is like 15 miles in.
Oh.
It was terrible. But then I just kind of did the like hobble for a while, try to get some feeling back.
Yeah.
And within an hour or so, I started to get more movement going into it, but it was super just like easily tweaked.
It was like really loose kind of after
yeah,
that.
So I had to take the downhills really slowly, just like tiptoe through the rocks.
And while you were taking it slowly, were you able to back your effort off at all, or was it still like, was it even harder? Okay.
No, I think, and it might have helped in the long run, just like that I didn't run like mile 20 to mile 40. I definitely backed off because my ankle was killing me.
Yeah.
And then once I got to like 60 or so, I was like, okay, I think I can finish, but then it started getting really hot. And then it's like, oh, maybe I can't finish.
How was the Cal Street from like Forest Hill down to the river?
I did not do well. Cal Street was really rough on me.
It's interesting because during that stretch, you moved into second. You were not all that far behind Ryan. I mean, like, in the grand scheme of things, and you come into Rucky Chuck and like, I think you said 17 minutes back or 15 or whatever, and you're like,
yeah.
Like, it was definitely not like you were looking forward.
Yeah. No, it was up on top. I ran the canyon, the last 2 canyons, I ran them too hard.
Okay.
I bridged a pretty big gap to Ryan.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, okay, I can catch him. And then Cal Street happened, and he put more time on me, and I realized I still have a long way to go. I better just like control things and make sure I can hold where I am.
Now, why did you decide to push it in those 2 canyons? Did you decide to push it, or did it just kind of happen? What
yeah, no, it just sort of happened. I felt good on the uphills because they were a little bit more shaded, but it's just too early to like take advantage of feeling good at mile 55.
Yeah, you can't smoke them if you got them.
No. Yeah, so that would have been beneficial to know the course better, but it's a learning experience.
But as a body of work, you're probably pretty happy with your performance out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's great.
Is it? I mean, this isn't the rate. It's the sort of race that I, think is quintessentially you. Just like there's a lot of faster, flatter sections.
Yeah.
Really hot. Like.
Yeah.
I see you as a mountain runner. Like.
Right.
Now, think you'd come back to this one?
The big question. I don't know.
Yeah.
Thinking back on it, yeah, I really like the canyons because that was more kind of my thing. I wish there was more of that in the course, but I also wish I could come back and run that first section on a typical Western year, because everyone was saying like that was just not Western States. That was something else entirely.
So having run in snow years before, sometimes it's really firm. I mean, like, you can slip and stuff, but the surface is hard.
Yeah.
Was it sloppy up there, or was it just slippery, or what?
The snow I actually thought was okay.
Yeah.
It was the stuff in between.
The intersection of the interface of the snow melting on the rocks and mud, and
so much water. there was no trail really to follow, even when you were off the snow, because it just had all been wiped out. So just really tough trail conditions.
I mean, not like people don't consider Western States a technical race, but in those sections, for sure.
Yeah, this year it was pretty technical.
Do you think that part, I mean, may not have been fun, but helped you as a runner? I mean,
yeah, it could have, I think, if I was in that mindset. But at the time, it just pissed me off. Just like, this is not what I came here for.
And especially to start.
Yeah, and so that was that, rolling my ankle, that was just a really tough.
And how do you do with the heat? I mean, like...
The heat was actually all right.
Like, unpleasant, but...
Yeah, no,
no big stomach problems, or...
No, I mean, I did end up throwing up at like mile 80, but that was just a mistake of trying to eat too much too quick.
Like just a quick rejection in the aid station?
Yeah, I tried to I kind of went down the wrong pipe with some gel, and then it all came out.
And did you feel a little bit better after that at all? Or?
Initially, but then it was immediately after an aid station, so I went for like a solid 40-50 minutes with just nothing, no liquids. And then that's kind of when I got in the hole, which Mark kind of bridged the gap from that hole.
Were you getting updates from anybody about what was going on behind?
Yeah, at first, I mean, we didn't really think he was that close until like 14 miles to go. And then we had just left the aid station, and I was thinking at this point I had 10 minutes behind me.
Yeah.
And then we hear cheering for someone coming into the aid station. It's like, oh my God, this is terrible. It was like Black Canyon all over again.
Did you know it was Mark at that point?
Someone had told us it was Martin.
Oh.
And I was like, I don't know who that is, but no, we had no idea.
Gotcha. So you didn't know, he knew who you were.
Yeah.
And because he had finished second to you at Run Rabbit Run. Later last year.
Yeah.
Now, was there any place out there that you actually, part of the race aspect that you really enjoyed?
Yeah, I mean, I did like the canyons. That was cool. There's so many aid stations. That was incredible. I've never been at a race when there's that many aid stations, and especially when you're having a bad day, to have just to know that the next one is 5 miles or less, that, I enjoyed that.
Yeah. At the finish, you said in your understated humor, I've done some things in response to some question, totally. But how do you think this ranks amongst your ultra running?
Yeah, it's hard to say because in my mind it was not my best race.
Okay.
And it just wasn't one of those days where things clicked. It was a struggle the whole time, and so to compare it to the Mont Blanc 80K that I won a couple of years ago. That was one of those races where it just it felt great, and I ran really fast. But in the grand scheme of things, people know about this race.
Yeah.
So
it's
hard.
Does having that Mont Blanc 80K experience and having some success at 100 milers, have you eager to keep going at that 100 miler, to maybe have that one day where it feels like magic?
Yeah, that would be nice. Because I mean, if that was yesterday, I would have I would have run a lot faster. So yeah, and that's always the thing with running. You always come back for more because you want to do better.
Yeah. And what's the next more on your calendar? What do you got coming up in the next couple months?
I've signed up for Run Rabbit Run again.
Yeah.
So I get to rematch against Mark
again
one more time.
Yeah.
Yep. But in between then and now, I didn't want to sign up for too much, or if anything right now, just in case something went wrong with today. Yesterday.
But overall, you came out of this feeling all right?
Yeah. No, I actually feel decent.
Nice.
So yeah, it's good.
And the hat training worked out?
Yeah. I got a lot of compliments out there on my hat, and I will say I look pretty good.
I don't know. It does hide your hair.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Tim was a little bitter that we couldn't show off our hair together.
Yeah. Tim, we'll get him working on it.
Yeah, someday.
Congratulations, Alex.
Thanks, Brent.